Step into the light where the wild ones roam, where the heart speaks loud, calling this place home. We break the rules, we paint the sky, ridiculously you. We were born to fly. Ooh, it's ridiculously you.
Hey everyone, it is Julie May with the Ridiculously You podcast. Welcome back. This is the space where bold women stop playing small, speak their truth, and start rebelling in their own special way. Today's guest is not here for the comfort zone. She's here to tell the truth. When she had false accusations on social media and they went freaking wild, they tried to dismantle her business, her reputation, her identity. Kelly Scott made a radical decision. She didn't just shrink down, which a lot of us like when we see situations like this or have them happen to us. I know for those of you who followed me for a while, I had a similar situation happen back in 2021. A lot of us go, well, this is like defamation. Nobody wins those suits. She didn't shrink. She stood up and she fought back. And in a world that these things don't usually go that way, where we reward outrage over evidence all the freaking time online, we kind of do silence over integrity. Kelly stood her case and took it to court, and she won a very rare civil jury verdict, multiple defamation charges, and most importantly, she got her voice back, and she got to show her kids and the people closest to her what the truth actually was. So this episode is about misinformation, mob mentality, what it takes to rise when the internet tries to erase you, which I think is very important today. It's raw, it's real. Welcome to the show, Kelly.
Thank you. Thank you. I'm so excited.
I am so excited to have you here, and I told you this. So y'all who are listening, I met Kelly on our cruise that we were on last week, and she was like, I had this situation. Who wants to help me get this information out? And this is a very personal thing for me as well, because I had somebody that really claimed some really horrible things about me back in 2021. And I'm going to say I did not take it to court. I did not do the things because in my mind, I said nobody wins defamation suits. And I was able to go, okay, I will, if we need to do it that far, we will take it that far. But, I was able to go, okay, you need to stop doing this or it will go that far. They did end up stopping what they were doing, which was calling every single client I had and telling them. They literally got on the phone and called every single client I had and told these gigantically made up stories. I'm like, we have the books, like I have records. But I'm like, so when I see somebody who actually took it to court and won, I'm like, no, this needs to be freaking shared because people think they can just make shit up. They think they can just get online and say anything, and who's going to come after them? Nobody's going to actually take it to court, and you are like, bet.
Right? For sure. I decided almost immediately that I was going to fight back. I think we had attorneys on the phone within about 30 minutes.
Yeah. So tell everyone the circumstances behind this.
So I had an employee that left me in 2021. She was acquired with the business, so I didn't hire her myself. We were pretty good friends. We did travel together a little bit and had kind of had a falling out. It wasn't really a falling out, but I was going on a trip with another person that worked there, and the said person that made the post was she was very upset about that. She wanted, I guess she wanted to go. I can't speculate exactly, but she was upset that she would be left behind and also that she would have to work that week by herself. So she just abruptly quit that day, and I never saw her or heard from her again besides a few text messages in the coming days. But out of nowhere, the post came on December 30th of 2024.
So like 3 years later, this
Yeah,
lady
for
holds a
3 years.
grudge for 3 years and just like blatantly lies.
Right, right. It was more, what I now know as malinformation, where they took some parts of things and twisted them to fit their own narrative, even though they knew those facts couldn't be further from the truth, or maybe jokes and conversations in group chats misrepresented. So the post was made, and it what had claimed that we sold fake car seats, um, basically like a knockoff version of the Duna car seat, which is a really popular brand. And that we also, the other main thing was that we also took used car seats and cleaned them up and made them look like new and sold them at new prices, which was also very, very far from the truth. And there were about six other claims that were really just kind of dumb. They just were like, oh, and so hates her, and this and that. And it was, to me, when I saw it, it was so long, it was so much verbiage that it seemed that it should be obviously perceived as retaliatory. That's what it looked like to me. Because if someone makes a a true post, it's usually just the facts.
Yeah.
But this post was multiple paragraphs.
So you see the post, it's like this long, and
Right.
another thing, and another thing, and another thing, and another thing. And you're like, I mean, nobody's going to take this seriously. This is obviously somebody who's just mad at us.
Right. And I was like, now I want to say that I thought that at first, but I didn't, because I found out about an hour after it was posted, and it already had hundreds of shares, thousands of reactions, impressions, tens of thousands, in that first hour. It was posted on
Wow.
two different groups, so two avenues for the same exact post. And one of them was right here locally to me, which was extra hurtful. And I thought a letter would do it, just a quick cease and desist would take care of it. It did not. She kind of doubled down and said, I'm not scared, I'll see you in court. And I kind of at that point realized that's probably where we were headed.
Mm. So, how did that start affecting you personally and your business as things kind of progressed a little bit? Because that was 2024, we're 2026 now. As things kind of moved forward, how did that start affecting your life?
Well, immediately we had threats coming into the store by phone. We had reviews, just nasty reviews being posted continuously every few minutes in those first hours and days, which, those are pretty much impossible to get removed. And I was sick. I didn't sleep. I, I, I knew better than to react, but I did react just a couple times, and it really just made things worse.
Mm. And to be clear, like the people who were leaving reviews, had they ever been customers of yours? Were they just randos from the internet that were just like, oh, they suck because I saw a Facebook post that said they suck?
Well, the reviews were kind of ambiguous, but when I checked into some of them, they weren't local to us, and they had not shopped on our website or anything like that. So they weren't actual customers of ours.
Mm. Yeah, well, it's one of those things where like we can say all we want. Oh, don't take it personally. These things are like it's just the internet, like whatever. I think anyone who actually cares about their business would feel pretty sick about that because you're having threats come in. What did those threats come in look like? Because I think the big issue here is we were talking about car seats, which is like baby safety here.
Right, right. In the first day, the calls were like, some of them were just like, you should be ashamed of yourselves. And I wasn't there. I was home at the time, but my girls reported back to me. And one person said, uh, you should be, you should feel lucky that my husband is out of town, or he'd be coming up there. And then just like kind of left it open ended at that. So what does that mean? left us to draw our own conclusions and things like that.
Wow. And was it your personal kids who worked at the store there with you that were getting some of the calls too?
No, my employees, which are all like my best
Mm-hmm.
friends and people that have been with me for, I think, a couple of them around 15 years.
Mm. And so what did it do to like your business numbers? Like what kind of drop off did you see? Did you see that happening as well?
Yeah, it was almost instantly devastating. Um, in court, we fought back about, trends. Well, 2025 overall was a down year. There's lots of other aspects going into it, but it wasn't really the case in our market.
Mm-hmm.
Safety category was pretty consistent in 2025 over 2024. The baby and kids market was pretty consistent, not a huge growth, but was consistent. And in the value category, which we fall in that category too, because we do have pre loved clothing and we have items that we buy in bulk. So we offer discounts on a lot of items, not just premium gear. The value category actually was up nationally in 2025.
Mm.
So our numbers were down, 50, 60, 75% month over month.
Wow. That's a gigantic drop off.
Yeah.
That's like definitely devastating level drop off. And like
Right.
how did it just feel? Because like money is one of those things that can be pretty devastating, but somehow like just going out in public and having that feeling that oh, people are seeing me this way now can have a pretty hard effect on you as well.
Right. I do some live selling for my clothing brand. And even when I would be live selling for the clothing brand, which is separate, people would come in there and say, some people would say things like, "Aren't you the lady that sells the fake car seats?" Things like that. And we would have to, boot people out of the live. Then some people also thought it was cute to make jokes like, "Hey, do you have any fake Dunas? I'm in the market for one," stuff like that. That was, cynical and hateful. And so it was stressful to go to be on live. It made it uncomfortable where it used to be fun. And for me, I missed some things in those first days and weeks with my older kids that were important to their lives. And I didn't do well. And I definitely felt all eyes on me in my hometown. It's a small town, and that was where a lot of the impact was made.
Mm. So you made the decision to get an attorney and lawyer up, and here we go. What was the biggest like reasons behind that? Because a part of you probably knew like defamation cases are hard. Um, there's underlying factors. The attorney, I believe you said when we were talking previously, did tell you it's going to cost a little bit of money. I mean, this is it's going to be a little expensive, and you're like, that's what we're doing. Tell us a little bit more about why this was so important to you.
Well, originally I really did just think it would be a letter because I don't even think a lot of people take it that far.
Yeah.
I don't think a lot of people do. I do know some people that overuse cease and desist. They'll send them to everyone that leaves a bad review, stuff like that. I don't want to inhibit any type of free speech or opinions at all. That's definitely not my goal. So I really just thought a cease and desist should do it. And the attorney, we acted so quickly. We actually had that out the very next day. An
Mm.
email version went out on the 31st of December, and then the signed, in person one was signed for, I think, on like the second or third. So she was notified immediately and did not respond and sent through like a third party kind of group chat that I'm not scared. I'll see you in court. So
Yeah.
like, okay, well, I guess this is where we're headed. My attorney's like, just let's just see, but we had to give her 3 weeks to either take it down or respond. And then you have to follow up after that with another one. So we did that. We had to wait like 3 weeks again. And then after no response, we decided to file a claim. And that
Mm.
was when he said, this is going to be expensive. And I was like, but what? is my legacy worth? What is it worth to leave this world and people just remember me as the lady that sold fake car seats? So it was important that even if we didn't win, that we got the story out and we got to have our day.
Absolutely. So, in the name of clearing the store name and everything, can you tell us what the store name is? Give us a little bit more about that so we can be like, hey, everyone, the truth is actually this.
Right? So it's Little Britches. We have morphed a couple times from resale into new items and went more like streamlined retail in the last few years. But we have some locations in Illinois and also in Colorado, and then a website.
So, Little Britches, y'all, the real story is they won the suit. But I know one of the messages you have is about these buyer beware posts. And I want to talk about this idea of, sometimes these buyer beware groups can become a weapon. And like you said before, you don't want to inhibit anyone's free speech. You want people to be able to say, hey, this was my experience. But what's that line between sharing your experience and defamation? How do people know when it's crossed? And how do people know, like, when they're in these buyer beware groups, like, how can they notice something that's probably more of a vengeful thing? That's probably, maybe they need to look into it more. Can you share a little bit more about that? Because I think that is part of the crux of this whole story is people just going out and thinking they can say anything and it's not going to hurt people, and it does.
Right. I think for me, I kind of notice when a post is particularly long or it has multiple claims. The problem now is that there's so much digital clutter that an average mind really almost can't be expected to sift through.
Mm-hmm.
So it's not the public's fault. I attribute a lot of it to the admins of the groups that kept it going. A lot of those buyer beware and those groups are for drama. Some of them even say it in their name, you
Yeah.
know, whatever, buyer beware and drama. So it's not cute. Think I don't think those things are cute. I don't think it speaks well of the admins. I don't think it'll age well when they're older and their kids are looking at it. Maybe their grandkids are looking at it like, you really did that type of thing. But to each their own, they're making those choices now. But um, I think a lot of responsibility lies with the admins because they can approve in these particular groups that ours were posted. The admins had full control whether to post it or decline it.
Yeah.
So that's a huge deal. I want to do more. I want to do more in trying to create more responsible online speech. People need to know that the truth matters, and it's harder to find the truth than it is to find the outrage and the accusations. But as far as defamation, what makes it look different is there's multiple factors, and you don't have to just meet one; you have to meet all of them. So, like the information, misinformation, disinformation has to be published somewhere. It can't just be a rumor. It can't just be written to one person. It has to be publicly published. It has to be false. That's the main thing. And the burden comes on the person that is already a victim to prove that all of those things are false. And the third thing is that the poster, the person that is committing the act, that they knew that it was false or they didn't care whether it was false or true. And then the
Right.
fourth thing has to cause actual damages. So somebody running around town just saying you're or whatever, it could be the worst word in the book. If it doesn't cause you any actual harm or actual damages, it's not qualified as defamation in the government's eyes.
Yeah. So I think a lot of the responsibility, again, lies on the person posting it as well to find out what the truth is. Because I think people get kind of charged up and emotional about a situation. And one of the things you said was like they don't know or they don't care what the truth is. maybe it is up to us too to go, okay, maybe I should look into what the truth is on this before we're emotionally posting something all over social media because it makes you feel better for the moment.
Right. While it's hard for a person to determine the truth versus accusations or untruths, if you just want to be black and white about it, but I do think it is the I don't want to put it on the public, but I do think if you want to be an informed consumer, if you want to actually know things, that you do have to do your due diligence as well.
Yeah. I also think too, like everything, not everything, but there's a great amount right now of people inciting rage in each other. I don't know what's up with the country right now where it's like, whether you're left or right or you're this nationality or this nationality, there's so much of this like trying to incite hate and distrust and whatever. And I do think a lot of these buyer beware groups kind of go into that like rage baiting of, oh, it's so exciting to like see the anger build up. And I'm like, you know what? The less we feed into that, the less people are going to post it. And because they're getting a reaction out of it. Like these people that are like, oh, I'm so angry, I'm going to post this thing. And when everyone goes, yeah, I'm angry too, it like feeds that little bit of them that gets excited over that. There's like a little bit of a dopamine rush when they're like, oh, yeah, I got everyone else excited about it too. And now I feel justified in my anger. And I'm like, do you know what? Maybe we don't need more anger against each other right now. Maybe we
Right.
need more connection, more love, more trying to understand. And it's not as big of a thing like when I get on and I'm like, okay, y'all, hear me out. But what if we find ways to connect with each other? What if we find ways to love each other? If you guys can, like, if all of us collectively can share, like, comment on posts like that more than the ones that are about rage, more than the ones that are about uh, anything like a giant against whatever it is, I think the more we feed into love, connection, trying to find, and it's not for not finding the truth, it's like for the idea of just feeding the things. I always say, like, what we focus on grows. What we add energy to in this universe is going to be the thing that kind of wins out overall. And when the thing that we feed into generally online is rage and hate and these things that blow up people's lives, I think it can create problems. And it's a hard thing to talk about now too, because there are, like, as we're recording this is like right when a lot of the Epstein file stuff comes out, and I understand some outrage there, y'all. I totally do, and there are times and places for outrage, but maybe it's not against your neighbor down the street trying to live their lives and trying to do, have a normal business. Or maybe it's not against the Denny's waiter that just forgot your Coke the one day. Or maybe we don't know the other things that are happening in somebody's lives when, there's times that a business may have made a mistake or may have done something that wasn't exactly perfect, but they had good intentions underneath it. I just don't know that getting out and being rageful and hateful as a nation right now is helping us heal or helping us a lot in a lot of ways.
Yeah, it's quite scary that that might be more of the way we're headed, even though that's not what we want. It feels definitely feels that way.
Yeah. And
When I submitted truths and real like emotional outcries to the admins, they were like not having it.
yeah,
They're like, nope, this is way more fun.
yeah. And so when you go to a court like that, did the admins come in to any of the trial or anything, or were they completely separate from the situation?
No, first they weren't local. I was fortunate that the person was still local here, so that we were able to be in our district court. The We did have the brand Duna. They did have a representative that testified on our behalf, and they did their own investigation, and they were able to determine that that the post was false. They did actually suspend our contract for a short time, but we were reinstated. They came, and then we had some other witnesses that had been directly involved, and then we had an expert witness. And one thing that she shared that I felt was really insightful at the time and has been helpful is when you wonder why the buy sell trade groups and some of the other groups are so toxic, it's because you have 30 or 40,000 people with all the similar interest, right?
Hmm.
They're all of the same mindset. So they become like a mob, if you will. And so that can really cause these things to go much, much further than just posting on regular Facebook or something like that.
So tell me more about what happens with this mob mentality. They post in this group, the mob gets behind them. Tell me a little bit more about how that plays out.
I don't really fully understand it yet myself. I'm working on it. I kind of get the idea that if the more people that are enraged, then the the better it appears, right? And then you have a bias confirmation coming in, like, oh yeah, a lot of people commented like, I never really liked that lady or stuff like that, and then I was like, oh, okay, so that's why I had that feeling, about it or whatever the case was. But I'm not really sure why exactly the psychology behind it, but I am trying to find out and trying to find maybe create some resources to help to combat it a little bit.
Mm. Yeah, yeah. There are studies that kind of show that there is an addiction cycle with this mob mentality that I've seen that talks about, when you're outraged and then somebody else shows outrage on the same thing and you're kind of like, of similar interest, then you get like a little dopamine hit that's similar to like an addiction cycle. And so like every time somebody does like agrees with your rage and adds to it, like it's dopamine hit,
Right.
dopamine hit, dopamine hit, and it
Yeah.
becomes like almost an addiction. It's really, really wild, some of the things I've seen about this. I want to know too, like, what was the most interesting thing to you that was like different than you thought this case would go? Because, these defamation cases are kind of rare, winning them super rare. What surprised you most about this process?
So I didn't know that most of it I didn't know until we were in
Yeah.
the thick of it. But what I really didn't know until the last little bit and really coming into the trial was that when people use matters of public concern, like car seats, or if there was a virus or something that could affect mass amounts of people in a safety issue, that there's heightened protections there from the First Amendment, and they're well insulated from these types of suits moving forward.
Mm.
We were fortunate that even though some of our claims were heightened, which gave us a higher burden to prove that we did have all the evidence on our side, and we were ready for it. We were prepared, and it was definitely tricky. So because of that, the heightened urgency of the situation, and it involved the public matter, it made it harder for us to win, but it did make the outcome that much more unusual and that much greater in the damages that were awarded, the punitive damages, which is rarely awarded. But the jury felt that she made these posts with the specific intent to hurt me, and they were malicious, and so they tacked on punitive damages, and that says a lot.
That does say a lot. So, for the listeners out there that have ever had this happen, like they're falsely accused, they're attacked online, what kind of rights do they actually have? What did you learn about that?
So you do have some. You got to meet those four things. The thing has to be published. It's out there. That's easy to prove. The facts have to be presented as facts. The person says, "In my opinion," or "I think this," or "maybe." That just takes away the whole case, unfortunately. But when they present them as facts, like this person did, and especially when they're attaching screenshots, all this proof. This is a fact. This is what happened. Um, it it's important that that you know the difference, right, between presented as fact and presented as opinion. If they were then presented as fact, you have to look at did the person know? Can you prove that they knew? Did this person know that we had a contract with Duna and we were one of their retailers, working with them, fully and listed on their website? Absolutely, she did. And we
Yeah.
were able to prove that. So that's the other thing. Did the person know? If you think the person is going to be able to just claim ignorance, then you're going to have trouble. But if you can prove that they knew better, and then what was the intent? Was the intent to harm, and did it actually cause any real world damages? So hurt feelings really don't count. There has to be some documented, whether it is emotional damages, that's still real, but make sure that stuff is documented. If you're seeing a therapist, if you're losing sleep, if you're on medications to help you sleep, like I was in those first months, make sure that you document those things.
So it sounds like document, document, document everything. And, make sure that it's listed like you have a stronger case. Obviously, you have a case at all if it's listed as fact and not, I really think this or I have an opinion about that, because opinions can be an opinion. But if it's
Right.
listed as fact, then we're in the defamation land. Yeah.
Right. And then you have to find an attorney that does believe in you.
Hmm.
I think that there was some factor of luck, I think, because I was unable, I was visibly shaken. I could not make any phone calls that morning. So my daughter actually called. I had never, we've had estate attorneys and such before, but I had never needed an attorney like this for any reason. And so my daughter, she did about 10 minutes of research, and she got a place on the phone, and they were expeditious. They were great. The team was great. And then the attorney, he believed in the case, and he really put in so much work.
Yeah.
So you got to have
I
that. So,
Yeah, having a good attorney is definitely the gig. So you felt like you were lucky. Do you feel like there's any tips you could give people to what would make, that first impression of an attorney feel like amazing in a case like this?
that would be tricky for me to answer, just because we did get lucky in that sense. And honestly, had that not happened, we wouldn't know that today.
Yeah.
We wouldn't be here today. But we just were very fortunate that part was some luck there involved, and we put on a really good case. That was the thing that my attorney was saying. I was like, "What do you think? What do you think?" I was a nervous wreck. This trial lasted 4 solid days. Um, so he didn't want to speculate. I know he was trying to protect me, and juries are unpredictable. But his response was always, "I think we put on a really good case," and I agreed with that, and that's what kept us going all those days into the reading of the verdict, which came, on a Thursday at 5 p.m.
Yeah, for real. So we're going to get into a quick lightning round to get to know like the real Kelly underneath the store and underneath the whole litigation and the whole thing. So tell us more about you in lightning round form. You guys ready? Okay,
Okay.
let's go. Uh, Tell me a song that helped you get through your bad days. A song that
Oh,
make you
my
feel
very
amazing.
that was an easy one, actually. I love the song "Hallelujah" by Leonard Cohen,
Oh yeah,
and it's on my. I think it's the only thing on my playlist because I just listen to it on repeat in my car.
love that. Okay. Is there a phrase you would want to erase from the internet forever?
Boy, that one's tricky. There would be so many. I can't even think of them. There would be so many. Um, uh, I don't know on that one.
You don't know. That's okay.
I
Uh,
don't think.
the most ridiculous thing somebody assumed about you.
Oh, I think that people do assume that I am, like, because I'm the boss, that I'm mean or in some way intimidating. Some people said they've been intimidated by me, which I think is just wild because I'm really down to earth.
People who come on this show get the I'm intimidated by you a lot because it's like usually somebody who has done something to like stand out or like finally overcome the thing and be their full selves. And I'm like, yeah, some people don't get that sometimes. Tell me your favorite place you've traveled. We met on a cruise. What's your favorite place you've traveled in the world?
We spent a lot of time in Hawaii when we were younger. My husband was based there for about 9 months. I spent a lot of time there. It really is amazing. But I'm on the cruise ship about 25% of the month, at least 1 week out of the month. It's the only place that I have found where I am just able to completely unplug.
Mm.
And it's a weird feeling because I worked for 24 years without days off other than like Christmas and Thanksgiving and scheduled vacation. So having this once a month is amazing to me.
Oh, I love that. Once a month. Are you a stay on the cruise ship person or are there ports you like to still visit?
At this point, 15 cruises last year. I kind of prefer to stay on. I love the quietness when everyone else is off, and I love having the hot tub to myself and such. I saw you in the hot tub on Oasis, and it was so crowded. We were all on top of each other.
Hot tub is like my favorite place on the ship. I will literally be in there like 2 or 3 hours a day. I'm like, and it's hot tub
I've spent
time.
all day in the hot tub before. My husband will go. He'll we also surf on the flow rider, which is a lot of fun. But if it's cold, I won't go. So he'll go even when it's cold, wear a wetsuit, and I'll be like, I'll be here in the hot tub. I've stayed there, and he's came back. I'm still there. It's been 3 hours.
Wild. And do you have a favorite ship now? You've been on 15 different cruises last year alone. So what's your favorite ship so far?
I like Oasis class and the Icon class for sure. I really like all of them. Navigator, I call my like home ship, because I was on there 5 times, and it's right. It's real easy. It's just right out of LA, so I like popping up over there.
Oh, fun. I haven't been on Navigator. I've been on a lot of the Oasis class. That's been like my. I like Harmony and Symphony. I think I like Symphony a little bit better, but anyway. All the
Yeah,
cruises.
no,
We could talk
my next
travel forever.
yeah, next one is on Harmony, so I'm very excited.
Yeah, we love those. I haven't done the icon class yet, so yeah, boyfriend and I are like, we need to get on one of those bigger ones.
Oasis has expanded. The best thing about Oasis class, even though it's a little smaller, is that it has two flow riders. So we get a lot
Mm,
of wave time on those.
mm.
And
Do those
just
big
the
ones
older
only have
ones.
the one?
Yeah. Yeah,
Oh, that's
they took it
wild.
out. They're on all ships, I think, like Voyager class and bigger. But they on Oasis class, they it was the height of it, so they put two of them on Oasis, Allure, Harmony, Symphony. But then by the
Yeah.
time it got around to Utopia and Wonder, they're like just down to one. They added some other new things on the other side.
Mm, yeah. Y'all, cruises, if you haven't been on a cruise, they're so relaxing, so amazing. It's one of my favorite vacations because you can kind of I always like taking my kids on them because there's something for everyone all of the time. So at any rate,
Right.
that's how this is about. But like, we're both cruise girlies. We're both Disney girlies. Kelly used to have
Right.
like annual passes to Disney as well. I'm like, I was a Utah girl that was flying to Florida and had annual passes
Right.
to like Disney. She was like Denver girl who had the passes to Disney.
Yeah,
So
we were
that's
so
too
bad. We
fun.
bought a house not too far from the park.
That's too
We
funny.
bought
Well, we're spending a month there from
That's
April
gonna be so much fun.
to May on part of our nomad adventure because I'm like, I got to spend a month by Disney.
Right, for sure. You can't do it without doing that.
I know, like we have to do that. So those are the fun things. Now, Kelly, what the people who are listening, they're going, okay, there's these groups, there's this situations, but it hasn't happened to me yet. What should I like? What do you want us to do because we listened to this podcast today? Maybe they haven't had a defamation suit, but I'm going to say a lot of people are in these buyer beware groups. What does the average person need to know moving forward that's going to like make everyone's lives a little bit better?
I think two things. If you're just an average consumer, just running about your days, and you see posts that uh, trigger something inside of you, I really want to urge you to look a little deeper. Look at those meanings. Look at the source. My grandma always said. My great grandma said, "Consider the source." That was her favorite phrase, and I try to remember that. And And you want to consider those sources, because if it's an ex-employee or ex-spouse or something, maybe give it a little weight, that maybe everything you read on the internet is not truth. But if also, part two is, if you are a business and you think you meet the four criteria, I think it's worth it, if you can at all, at least get those cease and desist out. For a couple $1,000s, you can get those letters out, and it puts the person on notice. And you need to do that. Protect your business if at all possible.
Well, protect your business. And like, I think one of the biggest things you did was you showed your friends and family that you're willing to stand up for who you are as a person. And like, as a person, like I've got kids in their 20s and 30s now. I think it's important to like show them an example of like standing up for truth and for who you are in a way that goes along with our legal system, that goes along with, I'm not just going to get online and do another rage baity thing and say, but she sucks because blah, 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 blah. I think that's like people's like reaction these days. And I'm like, no, we can stand up for who we are. We can say, no, this is what truth is. This is what it looks like. And our legacy is that we stood up for ourselves. I think there's something really beautiful about that.
Right. It was really important to me. And I'm very, very proud of what we did. My legal team, my employees that came and testified, the employees that stayed behind and kept things running behind the scenes. And I'm just really, I'm proud of myself as well, that I did not give up, that we just kept pushing along.
Yeah, I think this is an important message for anyone out there that's been falsely labeled or lied about or told to just sit down and shut up. So, Kelly, you didn't just clear your name, you modeled what it looked like to not disappear. And I think that's important for all of us as women, as people who are trying to let our full selves out and be seen as who we truly are. So I want to thank you for your courage, your clarity, your commitment to truth. The world needs more people who refuse to accept viral as the thing that is just valid. Just because a million people shared it does not mean that it is actual truth. We are going to drop some links in the show notes for you to follow Kelly's journey more and her work and her new things that are going to be opening up. She's changing direction a little bit in business. Is that correct? Are you having... Tell me what the next direction you're doing in stores, in what your business looks like.
Right. So because of this, and I hate giving the poster, I still I won't speak the name. I won't do that. I don't want to hurt her personally. But we couldn't advertise the way we used to. So when we wanted to post a new color that came out with Duna or new car seats, we just got attacked for the post, and it was almost like putting ourselves out there. So we had to stop advertising. So we have gone downhill in the gear area. So we are transitioning to boutique and gifts, back to our roots, and focusing on our clothing brands and some of those things, sustainable clothing for kids and adults. And we're just downsizing a lot.
Yeah. But with all of those changes, Kelly still can use all the support. So we'll put all of her links down there below so that you can support her, show her some loves. Sustainable clothing is fantastic. We love that. So
Thank you.
I appreciate
So
you
much.
coming and sharing your story. I think it's so important for us to stand up for who we are, for the truth. And I mean, y'all, let's get her side of the story viral. The love, the truth, the actual things that came out. Show her some love on that. So for anyone out there who has been mislabeled, who just wants to stand up for the person who was and was able to show some truth, share this with a friend, post it on your wall, showcase that we can be the ones who stand for truth and win. And with that, this has been Julie May and the Ridiculously You podcast. Thank you for coming on, liking, sharing, and showing us your support over all of this time. I appreciate it. And with that, this has been Julie May. Goodbye.
Share the spark, take it higher. Hit subscribe, bring a friend. Let the wildness never end. Tap